I used to think that McDonald's spilled coffee case was a big joke until I had a coffee case of my own. So most people know about the McDonald's case where the elderly woman spilled coffee on her lap and she had pretty bad burns and ended up suing McDonald's for millions of dollars. That was usually used to mock personal injury lawsuits, right? They said spilled coffee and you just get to sue McDonald's, but you spilled coffee on yourself. Well, I didn't know much about that case until one day our phone rang and I got a call from a concerned mother. She was at a restaurant at a very famous resort and the waitress set down coffee meant for the mom in front of the 11-month-old daughter. Naturally, the 11-month-old grabbed that cup of coffee and poured it on herself. That resort was also connected to a water park. And of course, the little girl only had on a swimsuit. She got severe burns all over her little body. Terrible, terrible case. But it led me down the pathway to finally understand, we know there's some negligence here. You shouldn't put hot coffee in front of a little kid. The question was the coffee too hot? So we sent investigators to the scene to actually temp out the machines that they had on site. And thankfully, because of the McDonald's case, we were able to determine what is a standard or a reasonable standard for temperature of coffee at a restaurant. Now, we know no coffee needs to be near boiling because of course that would be dangerous to a human being. Anything above 130 degrees is dangerous to a human being depending on the exposure length. So in my case, what happened? It turned out they were keeping their coffee at 180 degrees. It would take a half hour for it to get down to a reasonable temperature to be safe for drinking. So certainly this company was extremely liable, not only in the actions of their waitress, much like McDonald's, they were keeping their coffee at an extremely unsafe temperature, and rest assured, they paid a pretty penny.